Hey everybody, Sean from Movie Assault here, and it is time once again for a movie review. This time out, I'll be reviewing Movie Hoarders from VHS to DVD and beyond. And this was directed by Tony Newton, who is responsible for VHS Lives, VHS Nasty, and Oh, the Horror, which I have seen none of those. And if you were to guess what this movie is about and look at my background, you would assume that this is a movie that I would be totally into. And you'd be totally correct. I was really looking forward to watching this. From the back of the movie, the description of it is, popular YouTubers, filmmakers, and collectors lift the curtain on their manic media collecting obsession that is not only a huge part of their lives, but the lifeblood of their existence. This new collector's documentary goes where no documentary has gone before as we enter a world of horror hoarders, VHS hoarders, vinyl addicts, and Laserdisc obsessives. Enter the realm where DVDs and Blu-rays are king and money is no object. When a new release hits, it's a must-buy. Physical media truly lives on in this fascinating documentary from the creators of VHS Lives, VHS Nasty, and Oh, the Horrors. Oh, the Horror, sorry. It was put out by Filmlandia. It runs 129 minutes, and it is not rated. And this is a Region 1 DVD, so if you were wondering, this is Region 1 locked as far as I know. And copyright date is 2021. So based on that description, and based on the fact that I'm clearly a YouTuber who collects movies, you would think that I would fall completely into the target demographic of this movie. And you'd be correct. I'm white, I'm middle-aged, I'm a big nerd, and I'm a movie collector. That is basically who is featured in this film, and it is really what the movie is about. With two notable exceptions. There are two women who are featured in the movie. One is interviewed by herself. The other one is interviewed along with her partner, and I believe they have a YouTube channel. And I'll say up front that I am not familiar with all of the people who are in this movie as far as their YouTube channels. I recognize quite a few of them, most notably Cinema Sickness and Cool Duder. Unfortunately, the movie has some problems, not with the people who are in it. There are absolutely nothing wrong with the people who are featured in this movie. They're all interesting. They all deserve to be in this movie. They're all fascinating on their own merits. The problem is the movie does a terrible job of highlighting them in a way that makes the movie worth watching. And the reason I say this is because this is a movie that is screaming for an editor. The movie's 2 hours and 9 minutes long, and it could be quite a bit shorter if it just sort of reduced the repetitiveness and added some content structure to the film. It's kind of telling there are no DVD chapter stops on the DVD. So you can't pick a section that you want to watch because there are no sections that you'd want to watch in terms of content. So if you were interested in why someone collects VHS, sorry, that's just sprinkled liberally throughout the movie. If you're interested in why someone collects steelbooks, that's just sprinkled in liberally throughout the movie. Everybody featured in this movie gives their answer to why they got into collecting. And almost to a fault, they all give these answers, or most of them give these answers. They love holding a movie in their hands. They love the feel of physical media being something that you can literally hold in your hands. They like to look at the box art. They like the idea that they can pick a movie off their shelf and decide what they want to watch. Sometimes they forget what they have in their collection, and as they browse their shelves, they find something that is something they forgot that they had, and it's like browsing a video store. And then they get to take it to the player, put it in, and prepare for the media experience that they're sitting down to watch. So it reminds them of going to the video store on a Friday night when they were a kid with their family and picking out some movies to watch and then popping popcorn and sitting down to watch it, which leads into nostalgia. And if this movie were a drinking game, or there was a drinking game based around this movie, and you had to take a shot every time somebody said the word nostalgia, you would literally be in a coma after 2 hours and 9 minutes. You would have to go to the hospital for alcohol poisoning. The word nostalgia comes up in this movie a ridiculous amount. And again, it's a valid point, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that people have nostalgia for movies and that's why they collect. But hearing 15 people tell you that they got into it because of nostalgia is kind of beating a dead horse. I get it. Everybody gets it. Also, which is sort of an added annoyance, and really that's all it is it's annoyance, because it doesn't make any sense as to why it is. There are these random special effects that are in the film. There's a VHS video tracking effect that appears at random over people's clips, so it looks like the movie is having some tape issues. And if you're familiar with VHS, you're well aware of what it looks like when a tape starts to roll, or you get the sort of static effect. I'll see if I can do that with my video editor right here, so you kind of get an idea of what's happening throughout this movie at random times. There's also a random sound of a videotape being placed into a VCR and the tape loading up. And it would be fine if that was used as maybe a transition from one clip to the next, but what you'll get is it will be a transition from one clip to the next, and then it will just go on. You just get this ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk sound throughout someone talking, and it's really distracting. So I don't know why those are included. You do get some you get some commercials from the heyday of VHS and also from renting movies at Blockbuster, and those are really cool. I liked seeing those. But there's not enough of that, and there's too much of the VHS tracking filter and the ka-chunk, ka-chunk sound. While it might seem like I hated this documentary, I really want to stress that that is not the case. I really liked it. I just was frustrated by it because this is a movie that documents something that I am into, obviously, and I really wanted to enjoy it. And I come away from it thinking, wow, this could have been so much better. And I hate to say it, but I didn't love this movie. I liked it. I really enjoyed, and again, I can't stress this enough, I really enjoyed hearing from all of the different collectors and people who are featured. Their points are all valid, and I don't take away from anything they say by criticizing how it's assembled in this film, because that's the problem I have with it, is how it's assembled, how it's presented. The content is great. The way it was put together, not so great. A stronger case could be made by this movie against streaming media. And one thing is that I think it's really silly to think that anybody should have a completely anti-streaming media stance, because that's the way of the future. It literally, I own digital copies of some of my movies. I mean, I own all the ones that came with digital copies. I obviously own them, but I've only redeemed maybe 25% of the ones that I have. And I always will watch movies on Netflix and Prime Video and Disney Plus because it's convenient. But when I love a movie or I really am interested in a movie, I want to own it. That point is made over and over and over again to the point of redundancy in this film. I think it would have been better and more concise if we just heard from, a couple of the people giving their reasons for physical media being superior to streaming, and leave it at that. As it is, this movie is only going to preach to the converted because it doesn't have enough crossover appeal, or doesn't make the case for against streaming media or for physical media well enough to have somebody who really wants to be convinced to sit down and watch it. I think those people who are sort of on the fence will get bored with this because it's so repetitive and is so just full of the same stuff over and over and over again. So while I enjoyed it, and I think YouTubers will enjoy it, and if you have a YouTube channel and you're a movie collector, or you're just on YouTube watching and you're a movie collector, you'll probably like this movie because it is talking straight to you. If I were to take the perspective of someone who is not a movie collector and does not have a YouTube channel and is not necessarily interested in collecting movies but wants to know why people collect movies, I wouldn't be able to recommend this movie to them because it's 2 hours and 9 minutes of talking heads saying the same thing over and over and over again. If it were constructed in a way that explained in a much more concise, much less repetitive manner, how VHS collecting started and the history of home video and how Movies initially were only available to rent and they weren't available to purchase. There are snippets of all of that information in this movie, don't get me wrong, but it's so liberally scattered throughout the 2-hour and 9-minute running time that you're not able to extract that and retain it, because as soon as someone makes a valid point, someone else is going off in a different direction. That said, I did enjoy it and I got a lot out of it. I just don't think your average movie watcher is going to, and I don't think this movie is going to convince anyone that physical media really deserves to be superior to streaming. It makes points against streaming and for physical media all day long, but it doesn't concisely put them together and hammer that point home well enough that someone would sit through it and even allow themselves to listen to the perspective of everybody in it. So as a result, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I really wish I liked it more. But again, your mileage may vary. My opinion is only my opinion. But I went in totally wanting to love it, and I came away only liking it and appreciating the collections of the people involved and their opinions. But as a movie, it's really not what I was expecting. So there you go. That's my review of Movie Hoarders, VHS, from VHS to DVD and beyond. And as always, if you like this review, please let me know. If you didn't like this review, I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to like this review. Feel free to comment below. I totally respect everybody's opinion. This was mine. Yours is just as valid. So thanks for watching. And if you haven't and you are interested in seeing more content like this, please subscribe, click that like button, and take it easy. Thanks for watching.